Welcome to Academy Live. We are very excited to have the one and only Rob Rae on today's show. Rob Rae is the CVP of Community Ecosystems here at Pax8, and he is the host of Beyond this year. Pax8's Beyond will be held in Denver, Colorado, June 8th through 10th, and it features 3 days of immersive learning and innovation created by and for several personas, including MSP business owners, service managers, engineers, sales and marketing professionals, and security experts. Let's take a quick look at Rob in action.
Welcome to Beyond. We have a jam-packed agenda. We got tons of content for you, tons of fun for you, and everybody here at Pax8 is super excited that you are joining us. So first of all, let me thank you for making the trip out here to Denver, Colorado. My name is Rob Rae. I am the Corporate Vice President of Ecosystems and Communities with Pax8, and super happy to be your MC and host for this entire event. We have a jam-packed agenda, tons and tons of educational content. But honestly, the most value you're gonna get out of this is engaging with each other. So please make sure you take that opportunity, socialize, meet some new people, meet some new vendors. Let's learn about tech, but let's have a little bit of fun while we're on it as well. So once again, welcome to Beyond.
So we're going to be talking to Rob about the channel's favorite partner event, which is Beyond. And we're also going to be talking about something else called MSP Legends, which is a new docuseries featuring Rob. So we're very excited to talk to him about that. Before we bring on Rob, we want to show you a little taste of Beyond. So let's check it out.
We had the goal of making Beyond the IT industry event for partners like you, but it's become so much more than that. Beyond has become a movement.
I'm looking forward to learning so much and networking.
Last year was a great show. It was a great experience.
What I love about Beyond is kind of meeting with our peers, meeting with our partners, meeting with Pax8.
I like to think of Beyond as your portal into the future.
Welcome, Rob, to the show. We really appreciate you coming on and talking to us today. And we're really looking forward to hearing more about Beyond. And that's what we want to start with. So can you describe for us what is Beyond and what is it like?
Absolutely. And by the way, thank you for the opportunity to come here and talk about this. Obviously, Beyond is something that we're really passionate here at Pax8 about. So for us to be able to talk about it, awesome. And thanks again for the opportunity. So what is Beyond all about? So in our industry, we all know that there are trade shows, there are user conferences, and this is, in essence, Pax8's user conference. We've become one of the largest vendors in the actual ecosystem of managed service providers. We're a place that people come to find new technology, learn about what's next, what's new, innovation, everything that the MSP is kind of responsible for in delivering their services and certain products to their actual end users. We like to bring it all into one place where we can have everybody come and kind of experience that. It's also an opportunity for us at Pax8 to bring to light what it is that we're investing our money in, like a lot of partners pay us. We use that money to invest back into the company to, again, make better product services for our actual partners. And, in essence, that's where we also get a chance to display that. But also, it's also an opportunity for everybody in the community globally to be able to come together and just learn from each other, engage, and have a little bit of fun.
Well, on that note, I kind of want to hear you talk a little bit about how is the focus of community really represented here? How does that kind of play into the event itself and the importance of community?
Yeah, it's a great question. Because community is something that's really kind of hard to define. It's not a product, it's not a service. It's just kind of like a group of people. And I kind of talk about it in a way because I think in the managed services space, we have a unique community, right? And that uniqueness is the fact that globally we have MSPs that have a lot in common. Even though you might be on the other side of the globe servicing a completely different vertical, we have a lot in common. So the fact that we can actually pull everybody together, we can collaborate. Somebody, I've used this example a number of times with maybe somebody in Toronto has a problem that's keeping them up at night. Somebody in Munich, Germany has solved, or vice versa. So it's an opportunity for us to kind of bring all that together and be kind of that super connector. And in my mind, and being a little bit of a homer here and working for Pax8, I think this is the best place to do that, because if you take a look at the large user conferences that are out there, there's a lot that are self-serving, right? They're basically pitching products, their own services, buy my stuff. And it's not so much a collaboration or talking about the industry as a whole. At Pax8, we're still fairly neutral. We're neutral from the perspective that we have a marketplace full of products. You can buy any of these products. So it's our interest to make sure that the managed service providers and the vendors that serve the space are all growing. So we don't have a purpose, like an ulterior motive when we're actually delivering content at these events.
Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about that content. But I got a question. I've stepped out onto my fair share of stages, and maybe up to maybe 500 people, something like that. But what's it like being the host of Beyond and stepping out on that stage with, I don't know, what's going to be 4,000 people sitting in those chairs staring at you?
So first of all, if you're not nervous, you're a psychopath. Like, I think as many times as we've done this for the number of years that we've done it, there's obviously a little bit of nerves, but a lot of it is actually excitement. I get super excited. I get super pumped up when I get the opportunity to get out there and kind of introduce it. I don't want to, trip over myself or, those kinds of things, or embarrass myself or the company or anything like that. So it's a little bit nerve-wracking from that perspective, but it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. But in all honesty, when you're out there, especially on that big stage, I can't see a thing. So I just imagine that I'm kind of in a room of one. I just hope that, everybody's in the seats and engaged at this particular point. But, I think it's, it's serious. It's serious from the perspective that we want to deliver as much value as you can. People are literally paying to come to this event. People are taking time away from their businesses, away from their families, away from generating revenue. It's cost for them. So you have to make sure you deliver phenomenal value and entertainment value, but as well as professional value, that they're walking away with some type of learnings. And in my mind, it has to be flawless. We have to be able to be engaging. It has to be educational. Everything that we're doing has to move the community forward. I don't want to waste anybody's time. And when we think about Beyond and how we build it, whether it's the main stage where everybody's together listening to a keynote, or whether it's in the individual breakout sessions, we literally go through every second of every day. I do a complete walkthrough of the experience that every MSP has, and Bessie mentioned it off the top, the different personas as well. Make sure that is like a real curated experience, even though there's going to be thousands of people there. Make sure that everybody is taken care of along that journey, because I want people walking out and going, that was amazing. I'm going to come back next year. I learned a bunch of stuff. I've got things that I can take back to my business, back to my people, and hopefully improve everything that we're doing.
Speaking of learning a bunch of stuff, I'd love to hear a little bit about the three sort of pillars, right? Innovation, community, and education, and sort of how that's all integrated into the experience.
Yeah, so the innovation part, I think, is easy. We're in the IT industry, and it's for us, both as a vendor, but also as the attendees. You want to learn about what's going on. What are people saying? Where is the ball going as far as technology goes? We're all talking about AI these days, but what does it actually mean? We have to kind of articulate that and bring that in. The community aspect of it is literally that. It's just bringing everybody together so that we can collaborate. It's incredible to me that these people kind of meet each other and do collaborate. You will make friends. You will meet people that you've never thought you'd met before. You'd find technologies and vendors you've never met before. There might be somebody that you've been communicating with online that you've never met before. That's what we find actually happens when all of this comes together. And I think a lot of that has to go through the education part of it, which I think is the critical part. You've got to be walking away with some value. We can have as much fun or as many drinks or whatever as we want, but if you're not walking away with things to do, things that are improving. And I think that the strength, the core strength, and I'm not saying this just because Academy is hosting this, but I think the strength of Pax8 and Pax8 Beyond is our Academy, because the content that we actually deliver. And look, I've done conferences for 3 different vendors, and all of them have been phenomenal, and they've been growing and all these types of things. I have never seen such high ratings on content as I have with Beyond. And I think it is because our academy team is so committed to MSP success. We're not pushing product. We're not pushing our agenda. We are literally trying to raise awareness of technology, of innovation for all businesses, not just what we are doing, but what everybody is doing. And I think that's a core strength of our team and a core strength of this actual conference.
I love that.
Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, that resonates. I think we have a comment in the chat. Steve, can we pull up the chat here? So, yeah, Rob, if you, I'll just read this out if you don't mind kind of taking a stab at answering us. How can attendees maximize networking opportunities during the event?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because a lot of these events, especially Beyond now, Beyond is more than likely this year, it's going to be the largest MSP conference globally that's been done in 2025 and that's based on the number of attendees. So it's really hard because there are people there that you probably know that you probably may not even get a chance to see because of the pure size of the event. What I recommend you do is, like, through the app, try to engage with people before you get there so that you can, if there's somebody that you particularly want to meet, reach out to them ahead of time and try to say, hey, are you going to be in Denver these times? Let's schedule some time to get together. I think being present, attending the sessions, I even sit in a different seat each time I go back into the main conference room. All the meal services, the vendor area. Like, there's a number of ways in which we make it easy for people to engage, but you really have to be engaged the time that you're in and take advantage of it. And that includes even some of the social things that are happening in the evenings.
So, Rob, what is your favorite thing of all the things that's happening at Beyond? What is your favorite thing at Beyond?
Favorite thing at Beyond? That's tough because, for me, it's a combination of, it's exactly what the pillars, right? It's the innovation piece, right? We're going to be talking about AI, and I promise that we are going to be talking about things that people aren't even thinking about right now, which, in my mind is exciting. The community aspect of it, which is just seeing everybody together and collaborating. Like, there's, in my mind, that's the part that I get the most enjoyment out of. But, and then the education piece, again, walking away with something that you didn't know before, walking away with a number of things that you want to kind of take back. So, it's a combination of all those things. What's my favorite? I have to go with the community aspect of it, but that's also my role at Pax8 is kind of building that community and being collaborative with everybody. So it's seeing all the faces, it's seeing people that you haven't seen in a year, a couple of years. I think for me, that's probably the most important part. The engagement as well, globally, seeing MSPs from all over the world talking to each other, in my mind, I think that's probably the thing that excites me the most.
Definitely.
I thought you were going to talk about our guest keynote speaker. Can you tell us about how you made that happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two keynotes. The day one keynote is going to be Carl Lewis, who is a 5-time, 6-time gold medal Olympian. And, for me, when I run these conferences and pick keynote speakers, there's a couple things that I tend to avoid. Athletes. I tend to avoid athletes simply because, we're in the IT space. I want to find somebody entrepreneurial. I want to find somebody that is like technical, maybe something along those lines. So, when I first heard about Carl, I'm like, I'm not sure if this is right. Not only that, but we're a global conference. Carl Lewis is very much an American thing. But we had Carl as our keynote speaker in Berlin for our first EMEA event. And as hesitant as I was, it went over so well. He's such a dynamic speaker. He's such an interesting guy. He does have a great message. So, we wanted to bring that to the bigger flagship show. So definitely encourage you to come out and see him because he is very impressive. And just, it's fun, it's interesting, it's entertaining. And then our second keynote is actually somebody that I've been trying to get for a very long time, which is Neil deGrasse Tyson. For me, he's just an interesting character, just a crazy interesting character. And I still don't know what we're going to talk about. I don't know where it's going to go. But, for me, you've got the nerdiness factor. I know you have the nerdiness factor. You've got an astrophysicist that's pretty well known. He's got character, he's got humor, and I just think it's going to be incredibly interesting. But I literally have been trying to get him to do a keynote at a conference of mine for about 10 years. So, very happy that we were able to pull it off this year. Very happy that it's happening at Beyond.
And we've had some pretty cool musical acts, right? We've had Nelly, we've had Ludacris, Fatboy Slim. Remind me who we're having this year?
Oh, you don't know? So whenever an MSP asks me who the musical guest is, we do try to keep it a little bit of a secret. Unfortunately, it tends to be throughout the course of the conference the worst kept secret. I will tell you that it's not Taylor Swift, despite the fact that most of my staff want Taylor Swift. It is not Taylor Swift. Can't afford her. Sorry, Bessie. Cannot afford her.
No.
It's like, do you want me to tell you what you got for Christmas, or do you want to wait and open your gift?
Unfortunately, no. I don't want you to tell me.
Yeah.
Here's what I will share.
When you put it that way.
Here's what I will share with you is the so yes, we had Nelly the first year. He was amazing. Ludacris did a phenomenal job. That floor was bouncing last year. That was incredible as well. Which, by the way, we are moving this act down to the main floor, so we will not have a bouncing floor this year. So for those that were a little bit nervous, you don't need to be nervous this year. But I will tell you that this person, I got them for a really, really good deal, and I am more excited about this person than I was for the previous two. So I think it's going to be incredible, and it is going to it's going to be a nice, really nice big surprise.
I love that.
I see it. It's fun being on this side and kind of seeing how much goes beyond it. It's a little overwhelming, honestly. There is so much that goes on behind the scenes and so much work to be done. I mean, two-part question, like, how do you decompress after this? Like, what do you do right after the event is over? And when
I know that
start...
one. He goes straight into planning for the next show,
yeah,
which we'll talk about in a minute.
Yeah, the second part is with Amsterdam, which I want to talk about next, but and even next year, beyond 2026. When do you kind of start jumping into that? So I'd love to hear kind of both of those angles on what you do.
Yeah, no. So first of all, understand, right? There is an incredible team that is working on this full time between Jen Bedell, who runs our marketing team, Henry Snaza, who's our conference manager here. We have the channel company that helps out with this. So there's an incredible amount of people that are involved in this. You're the academy team, like you guys work really, really hard at filling all those slots with content. So, there's a lot of work that goes into this. There is no doubt about it. For me, it's not so much like, the physical drain as opposed to the mental drain. Like, you just physically, mentally exhausted after these things. Think of it like a wedding. You spend all this time, if you ever planned or gone through a wedding, you spend all this time planning it, curating it, making sure everybody's happy, making sure everything's there, and then the day is over. And it's kind of like this decompression you go in. But you're right, Rex. I spend maybe one day of sleeping, and then off to the next event that's actually happening. June is a busy month. It's a really busy month. There's a lot of great events in the MSP space that are happening. So, but in all seriousness, though, we put a lot of energy and a lot of time and care into this, and there's a great team that pulls it all together.
I was on the Know Before You Go this morning, and I think I saw like 300 Pax8ers on the call just to try to prep us with the information we need just this early to walk into that thing. Big deal.
Yeah, there's the numbers. Sorry, Bessie. The numbers this year are actually kind of incredible. So we had a goal of 2,200 MSPs. Our first Beyond in 23 we had 800. The second year we had 1,500. Our goal was to get to 2,200. I think we're already at 2,500 seats sold to MSPs. So this is, like I said, it's going to be the largest conference in the MSP space globally. It is going to be more MSPs than even we expected. And then you add in, I think there's 120 some odd vendors that are going to be there. They're bringing their staff. You got 300 Pax8 staff that are there to help with every kind of aspect of it, of the conference, being here to help our partners, know where you're going, help you out, those kinds of things. So, the conference itself could be 3,500, 4,000 people in Denver for that week. It's quite incredible when you think about it from that perspective, especially from where we started just a couple of years ago.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about. We keep getting bigger and bigger and better and better. Can you tell us, Rob, what is going to make this year even better than the previous years? How are we constantly improving beyond?
Yeah. So big, I'm really, really big, and the entire team is, and Jen's team does a great job at this, is gathering feedback. We want to know, did you like this session? Did you hate this session? What would you like to improve it? What can we do better? All the way from the food that we're serving to the actual content that's being delivered, to the keynotes, to everything. We want to know everything about the conference, because what we do is take that feedback and then just slightly improve it for the next year. And if we continue to do that year over year over year, it becomes this thing where we can close all the little gaps, we can close all the little problems, and sometimes even big problems. When it comes to the actual breakout sessions, like for example, what Academy is doing, we rate all the sessions. And the next year, those top sessions, we'll bring them back as repeats because we know they were wildly popular, and then we'll drop the ones that were less popular. So it's constantly tinkering with it like that, but it all has to come from feedback from our vendors and feedback from our MSP partners.
It's a good reminder to fill out those surveys. If you're coming to Beyond, make sure you fill out those surveys, because everyone that's planning it looks at it. Rob, is there anything else before we start talking about the next Beyond in Amsterdam? Is there anything else that partners should know, or prospective partners should know about Beyond before we move on?
Pax8 is on this journey, this transformational journey away from being a traditional distributor and into the marketplace, and we're creating a ton of innovation around the marketplace, which of course we've been talking about. We talked about it in 23. We launched it in 24. We've got more updates coming for 25. There's some new things that partners will actually see from us. But more importantly, I think that we're moving in a direction and thinking in a direction that not a lot of vendors in our space are. And again, we have the luxury of doing that, being in the position that we are in the ecosystem, where we can start thinking about AI. We can start thinking about where is the opportunity going to be, because we're so and MSP only, MSP centric, to make sure that we are thinking about it from the MSP lens. We're not just standing up there and saying Copilot's the next thing. We're actually talking about AI from a bigger perspective. Where's the opportunities? Where's the innovation? Not only are we talking about this, but we're going to talk about ways in which we can help bring these things to market. And that's what I'm probably really excited about and really, really want to hit home with is, we are talking about our industry, but we're looking at it from a now perspective, but also from a 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years perspective as well. And I think this is a great place for that to happen. And I've seen some of the initial content, and it's mind blowing. Even I was like, it had my wheels turning. So
that's awesome. Well, I know we're all excited to be there and to in Denver just in a few weeks. So yeah, we can't wait to be there. But the next Beyond, I know you said you're always thinking about the next show. So the next show for Beyond is going to be Beyond Amsterdam, held October 5th through 7th. Can you tell us a little bit about the EMEA Beyond? Why did you choose Amsterdam? Tell us a little bit about it.
So obviously the European market is growing very, very quickly. There's also a lot of partners that come from all over the world that want to come to Europe instead of coming to Denver. So for us, we did our first one last year in Berlin. For me, I like to move the conference around to different cities, because part of this experience isn't just coming and seeing a conference and seeing the vendors and seeing kind of the innovation, but it's also the experience of maybe exploring and seeing a new city, being to a place that you've never been to before, giving you an opportunity to experience something different, a different conference center, different hotel, different food. In my mind, I think that just creates more of an experience for it. Amsterdam, the Netherlands, just a beautiful, beautiful country. We've got a great office, great staff, that we're growing like crazy. Different than Berlin. And, again, next year for EMEA, we'll move it to a different city. And it's an opportunity to create another experience. And our European leadership is actually based out of Amsterdam. And I know they're extremely excited to host people there and bring them to their country. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. Very cool. Wish I could get on the invite list, see what I can do about that. Well, thank you so much. Let's take a quick video to check out Beyond Amsterdam.
I'm so excited to announce that EMEA Beyond 25 is headed to the Netherlands. Amsterdam, here we come.
I'll be in Amsterdam.
We are Beyond 2025. EMEA is held in Amsterdam. We'll be there.
I've already registered and I've already got my ticket.
So do not miss out.
I heard that it's going to be great, and we signing up for that.
Beyond 2025 in Amsterdam, and I already booked.
Well, I'm very excited. Can't wait to learn more about that. And I'm sure if you're going to Beyond in Denver, you'll learn even more about Beyond Amsterdam. So stay tuned. But now we're going to switch gears and talk about MSP Legends. So this is a docuseries all about you, Rob. And of course, it focuses on the MSP community. There's 2 30-minute episodes that are out now and 2 more that are coming soon. So we have all that information in our YouTube description if you want to check it out. But Rob, can you talk to us a little bit about this project and how it came to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously, have a phenomenal studios team here, because if you take a look at the content that Pax8 produces, both from a YouTube perspective, a show like this, the educational videos, everything that we do, we actually invest quite a bit in, again, to kind of elevate that experience for the MSP. So studios came to me and said, hey, we want to create a docuseries about you. You travel to a lot of these cities. You talk to a lot of these MSPs. Why don't we follow you around with a camera? And I said, absolutely not. That's a terrible idea. I don't want to do that. Because, for me, I am, believe it or not, an incredibly private person, as much as I travel a lot and talk to a lot of MSPs. So for me, I didn't want to make it about me, but we have this thing called the community, and it's incredibly difficult to capture and be able to describe to somebody that's not from this space, that hasn't experienced this. Why are MSPs so collaborative with each other? Why are the vendors, part of really important part of this ecosystem? So for me, I said, if you want to do this docuseries, I'll let you follow me around, but it has to be about the community. We have to try to capture what the community is and be able to describe it to people that have never worked in the MSP space. In the MSP space, we all know this, we're all growing like crazy. There's so much growth from an innovation perspective. How do you capture that? And so all these people are coming from outside of our space into this community, and they don't quite understand that collaboration aspect of what it is that we're all doing. So, that's what we're trying to capture here. Unfortunately, it just means it's a camera following me around and interviewing a whole bunch of people in the industry to try to figure out how we tell that story.
And we have a little teaser video, so I want to make sure we can take a look at that. So let's take a look at that real quick.
There's no better time than to be an MSP than right now. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity.
The MSP industry is unknown outside of the MSP space, primarily because people just want to operate their business.
This industry is very much a people-driven industry. How are we doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Rob, nice to meet you.
The benefits of community are a lot like the network effect, in that the more people you know and the more that they know, the more connected you become.
AI is going to change our world. We all know that.
So what's top of mind right now for both vendors and partners? AI.
The world, my friends, is evolving.
Yeah, it's that 2-letter word, AI, right? What I learned about on Monday is not what I'm going to know about on Friday.
In terms of what the channel is and how it operates, it is just this mix of relationships, all about technology, and all about helping people understand and implement that technology.
Rob, I hope you actually had a lot of fun making this docu-series. I was watching it, and I saw a moment in there that I don't know if a lot of people caught it. We were introduced, I think, in 2008 timeframe, and you were working with this individual And during the show, you won an award for the channel person of the year. What was it?
It was the Canadian Channel
Channel
Chief
chief,
of the Year.
Canadian channel chief. And as you were walking back to your seat, I saw you give a fist bump to Dan Wensley. I'm imagining that there's a lot of emotion behind that fist bump. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dan is a legend in this industry as well. I know he's through the Docuseries. He's the guy that I was in IT. I was working for a hardware company, and I wanted to get into the managed services space. And Dan was kind of the guy that gave me that shot. And to be able to be sitting next to him 20 years later, winning an award like Channel Chief of the Year. And there's a number of people that actually finished behind me in that top 10 that I actually worked for over the years. So it's kind of this awesome moment for myself. But yeah, it was really special to be able to do that with people like legends in our space, like Dan Wensley and Scott Barlow and those individuals. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, congratulations again. Well earned.
Thank you.
I think it's ideal. I love seeing in the glimpse into your life, and you've always been such a connector and such a key part of this. I understand your reluctance. It's not part of your nature to be like, yeah, put the spotlight on me. This is about me. I love how you kind of pivoted and kind of said, let's focus on community. Can you talk about why is that important now? Why is that such a driving thing for you after all these years? Community has always been a part of your role, but why was that such a focus now, and why do you think that's so important?
I think well, there's a couple different aspects to that. I think, again, we have more people joining our space than ever before from not from IT, not from, like, we have people from the enterprise space coming down here. We have people from outside of the IT industry coming into this space. And that is at all levels. That's working for vendors, that is working for managed service providers. We have MSPs that are, like, I mean, Rex and I right now are at an event with an MSP that is more than likely going to be the first $1 billion MSP. I never, ever thought I would ever utter those words before, and so I think the community aspect of everything that we're doing is probably more important than ever before. And I think describing what it is and nurturing it and investing in it is going to be critical for all of us. Again, it's just one of these things that is kind of like a secondary, because you can't really tack an ROI to it. You can't really tack a KPI per se to it. So that's where, I think it's just the community aspect is important.
Appreciate that. Good.
Well, thank you so much, Rob, for being a guest on our show on Academy Live today. We cannot wait for Beyond and all the episodes of MSP Legends that are still to come. Is there anything you'd like to say as a final word before we say goodbye?
Just excited about it. There's a lot of energy, a lot of people spending a lot of time, sleepless nights getting this together. I hope you can join us, and I hope you can experience it. And I hope those that do are blown away by it, because that's the goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. Bye.
Thanks, Rob.
Well, we want to fill you in on just a few things. The first is a little announcement from me that I have a new job at Pax8. I'm part of the partner experience team. And so I'll be really focusing on enablement at scale and guided growth. So if you are coming to Beyond and you haven't heard about guided growth yet, you're going to hear more about it at Beyond. So come and talk to me at the booth about that. But Chris, what's your announcement?
Well, we will be taking a little bit of time off, but we will be back in July, and looking forward to bringing the content and the community back online, back here to this platform. But that'll be sometime in July. Rex?
I am just super excited. For me, the innovation is awesome at Beyond. The community is awesome at Beyond, but the entire Academy team and even the ProServe team's gotten in on this, helping to build that enablement, the education component of Beyond. And I certainly hope to see everybody there because it's going to be another great one.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you so much to Rob Rae for filling us in all about Beyond and MSP Legends. Links and how to watch MSP Legends are in the YouTube description. And if you're interested in learning more about Beyond, that's in the description too. So check it out. Thanks. Bye.